everybody, my name is Tanya and today we're going to talk about 2016 reading goals. So I touched on it briefly in my 2015 reading goals wrap up. Basically, this year is going to be the year of slowing things down. So I love goals and I love lists and TBRs and things like that. Like, I really enjoy setting those kind of things. But this year I'm wanting just to scale things back a little bit, maybe read less if that's what it turns out to be. Less pressure, less goals, just reading what I feel like at the time I feel like it. I've got the flexibility to, pick up books and set buddy reads with people, or, to participate in different readathons and not have so many things that I must read this month or else. I've absolutely loved some of the things and the goals that I did last year, but, overall that kind of pressure and that perceived pressure of reading lots and doing things and joining in and blah 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 with everything that happens on BookTube, I just want to kind of say no to that this year and go, no, I don't need to give in to that perceived pressure. And I've spoken about this before, it's a very much self-perceived pressure that we all have, or some of us have, that to be on BookTube you've got to read all the books and you've got to do all the things, and pressure that builds up, and I don't want to feel that way. The last couple of months of this year I've been in a very strange reading place, in that I haven't been reading much, and I want that to be an okay thing. For if I'm not feeling like picking up a book, it doesn't matter. And the way to do that is not to have so many preset things to be doing that makes me feel like I've got to be doing this or I've got to be doing that, instead of just reading for the pure enjoyment of it. I think that's it. My 2016 goals is to read for the enjoyment of it, not for arbitrary goals that I've set myself, not for perceived pressures of outside, not for anybody else, just for me, for what I want to read and what I want to enjoy. That being said, there are a few things that I would like to achieve during the year if at all possible, some things that I'd like to make some small progress towards, so I'll run you through those now. But in general, I'm just wanting to take a step back from goals this year. So first, for the standard one, my Goodreads goal, I've again set it at 80 books this year. I spoke about in my 2015 wrap up that I read 125 books in 2015. I'd be quite happy if that figure is more like the 80. I've set it at 80 because that's fairly achievable for me. I'm tempted to set it even lower, but I've gone with 80 still. But in general, the number doesn't matter. The main reason I set a Goodreads goal is I like the way that it lays it out, so I can see what I've read that month. It's particularly handy for when I'm filming my wrap up for the month. I can kind of see easily what the books were in the order that they were in. But the number doesn't matter. But for however much it counts, I have set that at 80 books. My next given for the year is my Agatha Christie project, so I will be reading the next 12 on my chronological list. I think I will still keep trying to read them one per month, just so I don't get that clump at the end of the year that I then have to put other books aside because I'm trying to read all the Agatha Christies. So I would like just to space that out and have that be my staple for the month is my Agatha Christie, and then everything else is open. So I'll be reading 12 Agatha Christies during the year. My next goal is to continue making progress on the 1001 books you must read before you die list. I was hoping to have read 25 books this year, so I could set my goal at 25 again and try and get to 300 read from the list by the end of this year. I am still hoping maybe that's achievable. I will therefore set my goal at 30 books from the list this year, but it's a very loose one. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't, but it would be good to say I've read 300 books from the list by the end of the year, because that's a pretty amazing milestone. So at this stage, I'm going to say 30 books from the 1001 books you must read before you die list. And I'd also like to keep making progress on the 30 before 30 list that I've talked about before. It's because I only read one book during 2015. When I turn 20 at the end of January, my books I must read each year to make it by the time I'm 30 goes up to 3.5 for the year. So I'm going to say I want to read 4 books from that list for the year so I can keep making progress and stay on track. Again, if this doesn't happen, that's okay, but the years that I have until I turn 30 are getting smaller and smaller, so it would be good to make some progress on that one this year. And if you're interested in knowing what books are on that list, which I might be picking from this year, again, I will link my video that I made about this one, where I list the books that are on the list down in the description. And the last thing I just want to talk about briefly, in terms of spontaneity and putting everything down, I love making TBRs and lists. I've called my channel ListObsessedReader for a reason, and TBRs are just like a list, and there's something that I love filming and I love making, but I've been thinking about it today and thinking about the videos that I want to film today. One of those was my January TBR, and I think I'm not going to make it. So I don't know whether this will be a permanent thing, but I think for the foreseeable future I'm going to stop making monthly TBR videos. As I said, it's something I really enjoy, and I really enjoy watching other people's TBR videos, but I think just to, you know, facilitate properly the no stress and the spontaneity elements of things, to not put that list of stuff that I'm locked into. They're quite often going to be pre-planned things like buddy reads that I've got planned for a month, but in general I think I'm just going to keep my TBRs up here, and that way if I'm not sticking to them, then I don't have that perceived pressure of, well, I've told everybody I'm going to be reading them, so I better read them. And yeah, so I'm going to just try this and see how it goes. For things like readathons where there are specific challenges that need to be met, I'll still make a TBR for that, so I can get my TBR fix in that regard. But in the interest of just keeping it all, you know, spontaneous and no pressure, I think this is probably for the best. And so that was a lot of words for some very basic goals. My only hard and fast one is I want to read my 12 Agatha Christie's for the year. Otherwise it's just all open and free, no stress, try and make some progress on a couple of lists, but whatever happens, happens. So let me know down in the comments what some of your reading goals for the year are, because I'd like to live vicariously through you, because, you know, part of me really wants to make a huge list of things to do because it's exciting and I love it, but I know that's not good for me right now. So let me know what you're planning on doing so I can live through you, or if you're planning on having a bit more of a low-key year, let me know that too. As always, thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.